How do you measure a year? It will be 1 year tomorrow on the secular calendar, March 13th, that the Shar closed our doors due to the pandemic, as did so many of our community's institutions. On the Hebrew calendar, it was the 17th of Adar, just days after Purim, that we made this difficult decision. It's been a year, quite a year, for all of us. How do you measure a year? Fans of the 1996 Broadway musical Rent know exactly how we measure a year. In 525,600 minutes, in daylights, in sunsets, in midnights, in cups of coffee, in truths that we've learned. How do we measure this time that's gone by? Do we measure by the people we've lost? The loved ones we didn't hug? The weddings, graduations, birthdays that we celebrated from far away? The holidays we didn't gather for? Or perhaps we'll count in the ways that when we closed our doors, we opened our hearts. We'll measure by the number of phone calls or texts we received or sent, the number of meals we made or delivered or received, by the number of classes and other educational experiences we were able to attend through our screens, by the times that we cared for one another by staying apart, by the endless sacrifices of medical workers. We measure in new connections. We measure in love. This Shabbat is Shabbat HaChodesh, the Shabbat when we welcome the month of Nisan, which will begin on Sunday. The significance of this Shabbat is not only that it marks 2 weeks to Passover. HaChodesh, the month, refers to the significance of this month in formulating the way that we count time, the way we mark our months and years as a nation. HaChodesh hazeh lachem Rosh Chodashim, this month is the first month of the rest of the year. Although we count the Jewish year from Rosh Hashanah, the biblical year begins with Passover. We mark time based around the formative experience of our people. And this was the month when God showed Moses the sliver of the moon and explained that this is the way we would always mark time, by the shape and cycle of the moon, which governs our calendar. The Midrash notes the significance of the fact that we count our years in relation to the Exodus. Throughout the process of enslavement in Egypt, we counted according to the years of oppression. We counted how much time had gone by since we were enslaved. Only once we were freed did we begin counting time according to the years since our freedom. And that is what we celebrate, of course, on Pesach. In the words of the Midrash, we celebrate our move michoshech leor, from darkness to light, me'ol barzel lechayim, from iron oppression to life, me'avdut lecherut, from slavery to freedom, umishibud legeula, from servitude to redemption. We've certainly been counting since the start of the pandemic. As we enter this Shabbat of counting, of communal counting in a biblical and historical sense, and of our current count since the start of pandemic, let's hope that we will soon be counting from the day we began to emerge from the darkness. We know this will happen very gradually, slowly. Indeed, it has already begun. If we can be patient just a little longer, we know that we will have much to celebrate. We can count on that. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. This week, as you know, is Shabbat HaChodesh, literally the Shabbat of the month. Which month? The first month, according to the Bible. The month of, not Rosh Hashanah, the month of Pesach, the month of Nisan. It's our first month as a nation. And so this week, if we were all in shul together, I would be saying Birkat HaChodesh, the prayer for the new month. And when it comes the time to announce the name and the date of the beginning of the next month, I would do so using the usual formula, Rosh Chodesh, X, Yeh B'Yom, X, Haba Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael L'Tova. The new month of X begins on the day of the week X, and may it come to us and to all of Israel for good. Now, this is an opportunity to use musical cues in order to set the atmosphere for what will be coming in the month ahead. Prior to the month of Kislev, I would use a Hanukkah tune. Prior to the month of Elul, I would use a Rosh Hashanah melody. But in this case, I use a Seder melody. So, if we were all together this week, this is what you would hear to announce the month of Nisan. Rosh Chodesh Nisan Yeh Beyom Rishon Haba Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael Letova. May the month of Nisan indeed be a month for good for all of us and for those we love. Shabbat Shalom.